It's time now to take a look through the international newspapers, and for that I'm joined by Florence Evilmino. Hello,
Hi, Claire.
Florence. Now we're going to start off with the latest coverage of those rising tensions between Ankara and Damascus after, of course, that shooting down of a Turkish warplane.
That's right. We're going to take a look at Hurriyet, so the Turkish daily. Now, this comes after Turkish Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan told Syria to beware of Turkey's wrath and ordered armed forces to react to any military threat from Syria near their border. Now, there you see a photo of a very defiant-looking Erdogan pointing a finger at a photo of Bashar al-Assad, and the title there says, "Shoot." So a very tense situation. It's also the subject of the New York Times editorial that's calling it a flashpoint on Turkey's border. And now it applauds Turkey for showing a prudent restraint after the incident, but points out that things are heating up. Now, the New York Times says that it hopes that NATO won't get drawn into the situation, but it could if things don't stop. And so it's making it even more urgent for the UN and the West to end their conflict. Now, The Independent points out that this incident is an omen of how Syria's conflict could spread throughout the region. It says that the downing of Turkey's plane shows that the regional security is balanced on a knife's edge, and with each day passing, the nightmare prospect of a conflict between Turkey, Syria, Israel, and Iran is becoming more and more credible. And according to The Independent, the key player in all of this is Russia.
Now, the eurozone crisis is still getting a lot of coverage, especially in the lead up to what's billed as another crucial EU summit in Brussels starting on Thursday.
Yet another crucial summit. It seems like they're all the time. It's on the cover here of the Wall Street Journal Europe. EU officials unveil a plan for closer ties. Now, yesterday, top EU officials released a plan ahead of the summit, and it proposes that the eurozone 17 governments gradually take on responsibility for each other's finances. So it would be a move towards a closer integration. Now, one idea that French President François Hollande is putting forward to get out of the crisis and stimulate growth is this idea of Eurobonds to mutualize debt. But that's something that German Chancellor Angela Merkel is staunchly opposed to. And there's an article in Die Welt that she says, "No Eurobonds as long as I live." Now, that's unusually harsh words, says Die Welt for the Chancellor. And she's scheduled to meet with François Hollande today to try and iron out their differences ahead of the summit.
Now, Germany's been getting a lot of slack for its attitude, some saying that it's not showing much solidarity. But one newspaper, the International Herald Tribune, has come to the defense of Germany.
That's right. There's an article by Gunnar Beck, and he says that there's this familiar view that Germany has been the principal winner of the euro, and so why aren't they helping more? And Beck says that the reason people believe that is because they're only looking at the short term since 2006, when Germany's economy did get a boost. But he says that before then, the situation was drastically different. Germany was one of the worst performing economies in the North and Central Europe, and he says that it was lagging behind in terms of growth, employment, living standards. And now, and that Germany was in fact the big loser of the euro, and now that Germany is being asked to pay the bill for a boom in a way it never really had. And according to Gunnar Beck, it might not be able to pay this bill.
Moving on to Mexico, The Guardian is publishing more allegations of collusion in the lead up to the presidential race on Sunday.
That's right. The Guardian is calling it like the Murdoch scandal, but on steroids. Now, this is, as you said, it's the second report. The Guardian alleges that there's collusion between the presidential candidate, Enrique Peña Nieto, and Televisa, which is the largest Spanish-language broadcaster in the world. Now, The Guardian says that it's published internal documents that show that the broadcaster was abusing its programming by making videos that applauded Peña Nieto and disparaged his opponents. Now, earlier this month, The Guardian uncovered documents that said that Peña Nieto had been paying the broadcaster for favorable coverage in its news and entertainment shows and smearing its opponents. Now, despite all these allegations, the candidate is in the lead over his opponents. And it's just interesting to note that there's a portrait of him in ABC, the Spanish conservative paper today, which points out that he does carry the burden of his party's authoritarian and corrupt past.
All right. Thank you very much, Florence, for running us through the international newspapers.